Your evil undoes you.
So not too bad combos. Honestly, feeling fairly good about this class. A lot better than I was just looking at the numbers. Honestly, when you look at the numbers and you think about how is a class going to perform, it can be a little daunting sometimes. You think you might know exactly how it's going to work, and it might seem like you might not like it. But then when you actually try it and realize how it actually works compared to how it theoretically works, skills aren't too bad. Now, as you can see, I am actually starting to run a little bit low on my resources now, but not terribly so, and it comes back fairly quickly. I'm going to want to keep an eye out for things like Haunt going up in damage, 225 over 4. These haven't changed. 150, 180, 140. Well, that's new. These haven't changed. I'll have to keep an eye out on Haunt just to see if it does. 225 over 4. It may eventually go up to the numbers that are shown on the Diablo 3 calculator on the website, as the calculator there is intended for maximum level characters. Continuing our search through the Cathedral. There is level 2. Let us go save Deckard.
Foul minions, stay back! Back! May this lead home. The Skeleton King.
The power of the fallen star awakened me, and soon all will suffer as I have suffered. Gods, bring me his bones!
Alright, let's go ahead and start the snaring. My zombies apparently don't like going downstairs very well.
I will aid you back to your graves.
Not ready yet.
That 8-second delay on Grasp you can definitely feel when you need the mana.
Thank you, but why did you risk yourself for me?
Because you needed my help. Come, I must return you to Leah.
It is wonderful to hear that Leah is well.
Alright, here we go. More damage, as well as having its own poison damage.
Through old maps I found.
See if there's anything with better damage. I'm going to go ahead and, since I did start getting a little low there, put that on. His magic find at this point is not really needed. That should do it. What I want to also do is put this attack on, since apparently Witch Doctor's skills are not allowing him to auto-attack.
We must discuss the fallen star. Follow me to Tristram.
Whereas the wizard, when I was out of resources for him, he would actually start attacking, so it's seems a little unusual.
Uncle, you're alive!
Thanks to you.
I worked my hands to the bone to bring you these fine goods.
Okay, I wasn't actually expecting to interrupt the conversation, but, oh well. Let's see what I have. Level 6 is needed, so that will be useful next. Level 7. And I'll just keep that in here.
The Skeleton King was once our beloved lord, Leoric. He was driven mad by Diablo's evil. He lost both of his sons and his very soul before he was finally defeated. Now it seems he's risen to plague this land once again.
Leoric should be in the unformed land, yet he stands between me and the fallen star.
The key to defeating him lies in his old crown. Seek out our blacksmith, Hadrig. He knows of its whereabouts.
Alright, actually, I think I'm going to redo this a little bit. Grasp has the cooldown, so I should probably put that on my numbered skill. We will put these on and attack, and there we go. That feels a little better to me.
Leah spent all night alongside the blacksmith's wife, tending the wounded.
About to level. Gonna be level 6 soon. Very
Blacksmith,
nice.
Deckard Cain said you could help me find the crown of Leoric.
Not now. It's my wife. She's locked in the cellar like all those who've been bitten. I'm to put them all down. But how can I kill my own wife?
It must be done, blacksmith. I will help you.
Thank you. Follow me.
Oh, I thought he might be a tiny bit more compassionate. Alright, epic green glowing dagger. Look at that. Dripping with poison. Okay, glowing with poison.
I'm sorry.
They suffer, blacksmith. Aid us.
There we go, new active skill slot, so I really don't have to choose anymore. And what did I get with it? I got Hex, 79 mana, 10-second cooldown. An enemy turns into a chicken. Lovely. Polymorph other. Alright, summon a fetish shaman for 8 seconds that will hex enemies into chickens. Hex enemies are unable to perform offensive actions and take 20% additional damage. So very nice in the fact that it can actually stop enemies from hitting me and will allow me to do more damage to them, so that's a win-win. It's defensive and offensive all at the same time. He's up for 8 seconds, the cooldown is 10, so you've got 2 seconds between casts where he won't be available. Let's just go ahead and put that on here. And I'm going to put that as 2 because I want the knife available. There we go.
Mira, my love, forgive me.
Hadrig! Help me!
So he can turn Mira into a... This is the most comedic slaying of a wife I've ever seen.
I couldn't have done this without you. I'm in your debt. My name is Hadrig Aemon.
I need your assistance, Hadrig. I search for the crown of Leoric.
I can help you there. It's buried with his chancellor, my grandfather. You'll find his tomb in a cemetery in the Weeping Hollow. And if you see my fool apprentice out there, tell him to get back to town.
Alright, I will probably not be keeping the fetish shaman, but that is too amusing. Oh, of course, it's just like Diablo 2. A fetish shaman is 2 fetishes standing on each other's heads. Not smarter, just taller. My tallest! I have claimed these demons for you.
There's a big pack coming this time.
Need more time.
Stand your ground. That's the last of them. The bridge is clear.
Not the most reliable with his hexes, is he? Let's bring it back. So, obviously,
Needs more time.
this ability... Okay, he can do more than one. That's nice to see. So I can summon him, and he can actually turn multiple enemies into chickens. So that's... was one thing I was wondering, is if he only did one at a time, or if he would be useful for other monsters.
Need more time.
He's not the most reliable character, is he? Probably should summon him when I'm in the thick of battle. Of course, the one downside to something like that is I really can't see the Skeleton King being turned into a chicken. There are just some things you can't do to a high-level boss. Now, the stun that the monk got had a component when you blinded enemies. Powerful monsters would break it early, but it would still put a debuff on that monster that kept them from hitting you. So even though they weren't stunned, they still suffered a penalty. Whereas this one, I'm not really seeing a penalty for a character that can resist it. Maybe they'll still take the 20% damage even if they don't get turned into a chicken. That's hard to really say at this point. Okay, so in this case what I want to do is I'm going to start seeing what I can do with some maximum damage. Let's just put Haunt up there. We're going to keep Grasp. Zombie Charger is nice for groups. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a poison type build, basically focusing on dots.
Need more time.
So we got 80% weapon damage here, 50% or 56% weapon damage here, and 230 over 4. That did change.
Needs more time.
So apparently that is going up.
It's perfect strike.
Strike, he says. But very nice damage over time. And what I like about it is that Grasp is obviously it's damage over time, but over an area. Haunt will hit one monster and hit them pretty hard. But, hello.
Need more time.
And there you can see I had a large group of monsters coming after me, but the Grasp was doing damage. Haunt was jumping from target to target because I had that on a few enemies as I killed them. So even though it's damage over time also being spread out. I am not limited by large groups of enemies. I can still take out a large group with careful placement, of course, of Haunts and Poison Darts and the Grasp.
This apprentice's spirit dwells within the unformed land now. Hated demon should be killed.
So I really like the Necromancer. Of course, he didn't really do damage over time so much. I did him as a Summonmancer, but he always had the debuffs. I like playing support classes usually. Like when I started WoW, I started as a Necromancer, as a Warlock, because at the time when I was starting, it was right when Burning Crusade had just come out, the very first expansion. The Warlock was kind of still touted as the debuff class, at least in the manual. So when I was looking at it, it's like I really liked that. I wanted to be one of the support characters, the one buffing my teammates, debuffing the enemy. Unfortunately, their philosophy on that has changed. So, you know, if you're doing damage, you're pretty much always doing damage. Here, they don't need specific classes for specific debuffs anymore, but I still kind of like that design in some cases. But one of my favorite specs as a Warlock was Affliction, which was you're doing damage over time. You're going to hit them, and you're not going to hit them like hard all at once like other classes might. So other classes have more bursts, but in Burning Crusade you had a lot of dots. They've streamlined it now with Cataclysm, but you had just almost an unruly amount of dots that you could put out there. And if you played it right, you could really get your damage up. And that's what kind of this is feeling like. I'm able to put down a whole bunch of damage over time abilities, and just by themselves, as you can see, you know, may not be that great, although I am one-shotting a lot of these monsters. When combined, multiple dots cause a surge of damage. So, but of course now I have a new ability to test. I'm probably going to replace Haunt or Grasp. Alright, Corpse Spiders, 130 mana. Toss a jar full of spiders at a location. You summon 4 spiders to attack nearby enemies for 38% weapon damage as physical. Of course that's 4 spiders, 38 damage, so don't think that's an active pet because it's not in the command school. We can go ahead and try this here. Is that all at once? Doesn't look like it's a damage over time ability. Let's replace Haunt with the Corpse Spiders. See if it's any good.
Needs more time.
Of course, you can't do it just yet. 38, huh? 38's decent. That is what Grasp is doing per second. I'm doing that with 4 different spiders. Okay, 38, 4, 30. There they go. They act kind of like a pet. They were hitting multiple targets. Let's see what happens. That monster dies, and this would be a better way to tell. And they're hitting multiple targets. They only last for a little bit. This is times 4, yeah. Looking at about 152% weapon damage, so kind of like the so to comparative sake here, Zombie Charger, which is 140, so it technically will do more damage than Zombie Charger. Has the same ability to hit multiple monsters, although Zombie Charger is in a line. You have more control over that damage because it's all at once. The 150 hits at one time, and then we'll just go in a line. So very controlled damage, whereas the Corpse Spiders, as you can see, I'm putting them down. Each spider hits more than once. So there actually is more of a potential here than the Zombie Charger. So even though when you calculate out each spider to be doing about 152, or altogether they're doing 152, if each spider attacks more than once, that damage goes up. So since things are dying fairly quickly, I might choose that over, just keep that over Haunt for now.
I strike at your heart.
Not bad. Somewhat expensive. 130. What is what's Haunt looking at? 49. So Haunt is cheaper. I may consider that. Not that I'm running out too much. To see, I got 60 or 600 mana now. And oh, my mana regeneration, oh, it has gone up, but I am, yeah, 3 per second there, 2 per second there. So yes, that hasn't gone up with levels, it's only gone up with gear. Once is now 235. So that is going up, but the time is staying the same at 4 seconds, so it may still be different than what the calculator is on the Diablo 3 site, because I haven't heard of them updating it recently, although they usually tend to update that things without too much warning to people. Again, it'll probably get updated and revamped when they do their next announcement. I'm still waiting for that, wondering what they've done. I'm very interested to find out what the rune stones are going to do. I've seen some interesting builds out there people have put into their forum posts on Diablo fans. One I particularly liked, I'm not sure if it's a build I would try because it's a defensive build, but it was a very defensive monk build. They use the passive where you dual-wield weapons and you get your a bonus to dodge, and then they runed Fist of Lightning and Deadly Reach, so that Fist of Lightning increased their dodge rate and Deadly Reach increased their armor. So all they would have to do is alternate between Reach and Fists to keep the buffs up. And then of course they had Breath of Heaven for healing. They ruined it so that healing, Breath of Heaven did damage, which I had mentioned that when I got Breath of Heaven, I thought it did damage. Apparently it was a runestone capability, and I mistook it for baseline capability. So basically they've got a defensive build where they're sitting out there taking less damage because they've got insane amounts of dodge and armor, and then they can heal themselves and do damage while they're healing themselves, and it just looked like a very nice build, actually. I think whoever created it did a good job on that. Of course, what they talked about runestones was they were looking into making runestones unattuned, or without a color until you slot it. So at first you would know what color it was, and then you could decide what ability to put it in, but because of the random system, they kind of decided to, well, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a rune, and it's going to be colorless until you put it into a slot, and then you'll figure out what the color is. To kind of facilitate the random system, and probably to get people to want to branch out more. You know, if you don't know what type of rune you're going to get for a skill, you may not try it. I mean, you may be set on only getting a particular type of runestone for a skill, and never trying anything else. But sometimes trying it is half the fun. So, definitely interested to see if any of those runes have changed. See if they keep the unattuned system. They've been going back and forth on that. But there's a lot that can happen. There's a lot of information that I'm really looking forward to. And again, the possible tweaks to classes like the Demon Hunter. Nice. Yet another class that has pleasantly surprised me.
Needs more time.
And once I actually got to level 13, there were just some things I could do with that Demon Hunter that I really did like. You know, I didn't want it to sound too much like I didn't like the class, because I really did. I liked the tools the Demon Hunter had. Just there were some things that felt like that could be improved, obviously, but the toolbox itself, the idea behind the class, still resonated with me in some ways. And this is going to be another case for me creating multiple witch doctors, because I always liked the necro with pets, but I'm honestly leaning towards a dot build with this one, simply because, again, it brings kind of back memories of my warlock and doing a lot of damage over time, watching a health bar just kind of drop without having to cast a major nuke ability. So I'm just going to double check skills here real fast to see if any of these have changed. That is still 180, this is still 150, that's still 140. So the physical realm skills are not changing, but the soul ones might. Now here's one that unfortunately we're not going to get to see in the beta, and I was looking at this on the skill calculator. Soul Harvest. You draw upon life force of enemies, increasing your intelligence for 30 seconds. So you feed on 5 nearby enemies within 15 yards, and you gain 34 intelligence for each affected enemy. That's a lot of intelligence gain and damage gain. It's something I would really love to see how it plays out, because you could really, pull that out on, say, the Skeleton King when he puts his ads out. And you just feed on his ads, and then all of a sudden you do an insane amount of damage to the king himself. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and clean out the inventory for now before we go anywhere else. What I think I'm going to do is I am going to go back to Haunt, I think, instead of Corpse Spiders. As much as I like Corpse Spiders, these sets of abilities seem to be working out. Although I could replace Poison Dart with the Spider instead. 50 more mana. Doesn't do overtime, but it hits multiple times. I want to keep the 100% weapon damage as the initial hit.
They never should have named this place New Tristram. We wouldn't be getting attacked all the time.
This does more damage.
New Wellington, would we?
Doesn't have the poison damage, which... You know what? There's a test. I'm going to pull out the zombie charger. Oh, it does do damage as poison. As I was going to say, I saw the zombie chargers were green, and I was wondering if that was affected by my weapon. No, it just turns out that the zombie charger does damage as poison naturally. Okay, go away, go away. So what I'm thinking here is I may go ahead and try this weapon out to get my damage up, even though it will bring down my regeneration. Regeneration hasn't really been that big of a deal. Here we go, 5 experience. What level did I need for that? 7, so that's, well, half a level too late, but that's okay. Let's see how it looks on me. Very voodoo-ish. Suppose that's the best way I can put it. Okay, keep that because that's additional experience. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use this.
You know, it would take everyone's mind off their troubles.
Let's go salvage. Oh,
Your
found your apprentice.
died his final death. I am sorry.
Fool boy. Hope for the worst and you will not be disappointed. Thank you for the news.